Good morning, everybody. Again, running a few minutes late. I do apologize. We run redundant systems here for a reason. The system that I was operating on tested fine. I did a retest right before the show because, learning, and it crashed. It was horribly slow, too slow to actually stream. So I fired up the backup system, tested it, horrible. Fired up the third redundant system, tested it, horrible. Went back, rebooted everything, found a system that's working, and here we are, hopefully not pixelated. Hope we look okay. And we're ready to do it. Let's dive into it. Let's jump into it. Let's see what we got going on today. I see you folks are talking about the taco trade news. If you don't know what's going on, I'll play the clip for you. I was going to play that at the end, but you folks are talking about it, and it's your show as much as mine, so we'll go there first. Taco trade, what they're talking about is Trump always chickens out. With these tariffs, it's become a trend that Trump will slap tariffs on somebody, a country. The market will react, and the next day it'll crash. But all the big players weren't running for the hills. They were buying in as fast as they possibly could because they have recognized a pattern, and they call it a taco trade. Trump always chickens out. So when Trump announces a tariff and the market crashes, they dive in head first, buy a position at discounted prices because the market's crashed, and wait for Trump to chicken out, which he always does. Trump had this question posed to him about these taco trades because it's really in our nomenclature now. It is part of Wall Street vernacular now. Taco trades. This is a real thing, folks. This isn't something that somebody generated to make fun. No, she's asking a legitimate question here. This is something that they a term they use on the trading floor and in the brokerage houses, and they're called taco trades. They're selling them to their big moneyed clients that panic when Trump does something stupid. Hey, let's do a taco trade. I mean, this is a thing now. So Trump gets hit with the question, and boy, he doesn't like it. Forgive me. I don't like to hear his voice. You don't like to hear his voice. I play his voice as little as possible, but so that you understand where this came from. This journalist, good kudos to her, asked him directly about it, and he doesn't handle it well.
Analysts have coined a new term called the taco trade. They're saying Trump always chickens out on your tariff threats, and that's why markets are higher this week. What's your response to that?
I kick out?
Chicken out.
Oh, isn't that nice? Chicken out. I've never heard that. You mean because I reduced China from 145% that I set down to 100 and then down to another number? And I said you have to open up your whole country. And because I gave the European Union a 50% tax tariff, and they called up and they said, please, let's meet right now. Please, let's meet right now. And I said, okay, I'll give you till July 9. I actually asked them, I said, what's the date? Because they weren't willing to meet. And after I did what I did, they said, we'll meet anytime you want. And we have an end date of July 9th. You call that chickening out? Because we have $14 trillion now invested, committed to investing when Biden didn't have practically anything. This country was dying. You know, we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. I went to Saudi Arabia. The king told me, he said, you got the hottest, we have the hottest country in the world right now. 6 months ago, this country was stone cold dead.
Oh, please. We have the best economy in the world. The best economy in the world. And they have blown it up. Blown it up. But we have been given a reprieve. I told you this would happen, folks. And I want to set the tone for the show. It is, I told you so. It would take time. The whole point of the 2025 project, if you actually bothered to read it, was to make you feel hopeless, was to make you put you on your heels, make you do something stupid. That's what was really the plan, and you screwed them. You did. Their plan, and forgive my voice today, got a little bit of a, this front coming through, the allergies are going crazy. I'm sorry. I know I sound very nasal today. I'm sorry. But yeah, that was the plan. ET, you kill me, brother. You kill me. Always bring in the good ones, man. That's good. See you next Taco Tuesday, right? Oh my God. But the plan was to make it feel as though things are hopeless. Make it feel as though the Democrats can't do anything. They're just weak. There's no point. The elections were stolen. They were stolen. There's no point in even voting ever again. And the Democrats are weak. They can't do nothing for you. And it's just over. Trump is inevitable. That was the plan. That was the plan. And I told you, look, no, one, don't do anything stupid, because part of their plan is, you know, you heard Kevin Roberts talk about it. It'll be peace. It'll be bloodless if you allow it. They really, really, really wanted to goad people into doing something stupid, so that they could declare martial law, so that they could, you know, act against us and control the narrative. Instead of all the shady shit they were doing, we would be talking about, you know, the corporate news media was more than ready to run footage of people burning cars and shit like that, which you didn't do. To your credit, you kept calm. You kept calm. And I was sitting here trying to get everybody that I could to listen to the fact that they're going to lose. They are. They're doing things that are illegal. They're doing things. The president just doesn't get to grab power and it's okay. It would go through the courts and they would lose. And because they're idiots and because their policies suck, they're going to lose in the midterms. Part of what we're going to talk about today, actually the majority of what we're going to talk about today is, okay, Trump is weak. He is old. He's got pudding for brains. He is dying right in front of us. Literally, you could see the man degrading right in front of us. He may not live through the end of this term. He may die of old age right in office. What next? What next? Because this is the focus you need to be having. What mess are they going to leave us, and what are we going to do about it? So let's dig into it a little bit. You know, it always helps to have a frame of reference. Magas can read. That's a good question there. Good question. Good question there. I love you folks. I really do. On Nissian Sphinx, we had the taco kitty flying meme with the rainbow come out the back, but now has Trump's head on it. The memes, the meme game. If y'all don't follow Philo Alexand on Blue Sky, I don't know what you're doing with yourself. He's got one of the best meme games anywhere on social media. He's really good. He's really good. The memes that have been coming out about Taco Tuesday are incredible. They are. But y'all understand where that comes from, right? I mean, this is literally a trade now. This is something that they use when they're selling to their clients. Oh yeah, Trump's just being stupid, this, that. But it is more than that. It is more than that. It's criminal. It is criminal. Let me back up for a second and just give you a frame of what we're talking about here. Y'all remember Reagan? Y'all remember Reagan? Reagan was an actor. He was not a leader. He wasn't. He was an actor. He did a really good job at portraying a president. He did. But he was an actor. He was not a policy guy. And he had serious degenerative brain disease. So who was calling the shots? We've got the same problem with Trump, folks. He was never a good president to begin with, so him calling the shots wasn't a good thing. That's not what I'm saying. But he's not calling the shots. This isn't Trump. This whole tariff bullshit, that comes out of Peter Navarro. It's the people around them that are running our government. Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about Stephen Miller too. But before we get there, let me give you a frame of reference here. This is Ed Meese. Ed Meese was Ronald Reagan's chief of staff when he was governor of California. Now, I want you to jump in the Wayback Machine with me. And I want you to understand the time frame, late 60s, early 70s. The United States was it was never better. Even coming out of World War II in the 50s and the 60s, we really hadn't blossomed into the economic industrial juggernaut that we grew through the 60s and the 70s when there was more peace and there was more, we had Vietnam, but this was not a global conflict. Vietnam was not stopping global markets from functioning like World War II did. Basically, all you had to do was shut your mouth and breathe through your nose. And you did great in the 60s and the 70s, early 70s. You did. It was the bomb, man. It was amazing. You had to work to screw that up. Insert Ed Meese and Ronald Reagan in California. California is having a population boom. It's industrialized like crazy. It is just one of the jewels of America's growth. It was just amazing. And they managed to cause a recession in California because of the same stupid shit that they did when he was president. The whole government's bad and government's, all of that crap. All of that crap. I'm going to keep that picture just in case I need to pull it up again in a later. All of that crap just kneecapped California. It did. By the time Reagan's second term came around, the economy was choking. It was choking. And just like it happens every time the Republicans get power, Johnny Gotrocks gets free reign and he goes nuts. And everybody talks about it's Valhalla. It's like the Reagan first term. Everybody's like, oh man, we came out of the OPEC crisis. We came out of, Reagan did his deal with Iran to get himself elected. OPEC quit kneecapping us. We were sucking up. We're going to talk a little bit about Saddam Hussein. We were sucking up to Saddam Hussein. We started to become awash in oil again. And the economy just took off like a rocket for all of these various reasons, but they still managed to fuck it up. All you had to do was and breathe through your nose. And the early 80s would have been spectacular. It's like coming out of COVID. All the markets opening back up. All you had to do was just take care of the logistics to get the ports operating again and get everything back into. That's all you had to do. Just the basics, man. And everybody was coming out of, you know, remember that? I talk about it all the time. That old cartoon when we were kids with Woody Pecker where he freezes in the wintertime, but in the springtime he comes out and he goes crazy, woo, everywhere. That's what it was like post-COVID. That's why we had inflation. People were buying like crazy, but the factories weren't all open back up and caught back up. You know, all the clothes shutdowns and everything left us with, you know, a shortage of goods. So we were paying premium prices for what was there. It's kind of like eggs. Eggs didn't spike because of Joe Biden. Eggs spiked because we had bird flu. No eggs. And then you got the corporate greed where they started saying, well, you know, I like these high prices. There's no sense in lowering these prices too quickly. I mean, well, yeah, of course we're laying eggs again, but why sell them cheap? Corporate greed is always the reason we have extended inflation beyond what it should be. ET, I was here with the good, and MKD1 is now attacking one of his oligarchs, Leonard Leo, and the maggots are eating up this red meat. Yeah, there's kind of a civil war in Trump world. We're going to talk about that a little bit. But it's not what it seems. But we'll talk about that when we get there. Let me finish telling you a little bit about Ed Meese and Reagan and the kind of things that we had going on. Skeet Sayre, Trump is a carbon copy of Mussolini. The real evil of the Republican Party are actually the Nazi Party. Look at what they are passing and the fact that no Republican is talking about tornado damage. Yeah. They pretend these storms just didn't happen. Screw you, voters. Screw you, man. That was Ed Meese then. This is Ed Meese now. Or it was Ed Meese during the first Trump term. Yeah, that's Ronald Reagan giving Ed Meese the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which I told you, elect me president and I will just throw that medal in the trash. It won't exist anymore. It's meaningless. The people that Donald Trump gave that medal to made that medal meaningless. It used to be our highest civilian honor, but he gave it to Ed Meese of all people. Now, why is that a bad thing? This is why. Silly bee-boo. We elder millennials and zennials have been screwed over before we were even yeah. I'm telling you. This corruption in the Republican Party, it's in their DNA. It's in their DNA. And that's, if you can't tell, that's where we're going with this. Corruption then, corruption now. Sharon Butler, thanks for supporting the show. But Ed Meese resigned in disgrace. He became Reagan's attorney general when Reagan became president. He was Reagan's chief of staff. He became Reagan's attorney general. He was far from the only corrupt bad influence around Reagan. This is Don Regan. This is Don Regan. Before we continue on with Ed Meese, this is Don Regan. Don Regan, he became Reagan's chief of staff when Reagan was president. When Reagan's brains were complete pudding, and you want to know who was calling the shots, it was Don Regan. It was Don Regan. He was the former CEO of Merrill Lynch, and if you're old like me, you know Merrill Lynch was somebody. You know that company was somebody back in the day. They were one of the first major brokerage firms to go public. They were a big freaking deal back in the day, and the CEO became the chief of staff to a president with pudding for brains. Don Regan hated the communists. He was an ultra capitalist. Steve Corley, thanks for being here. Thank you. Just giving you a flavor for who was around Reagan calling the shots when all of this shit happened. Don Regan thought unions were communism. They commies. They were commies. They had to destroy the country. So Don Reagan went to all of his Wall Street buddies and all the industrialists and said, hey, outsource. Move your operations overseas. And the Reagan administration became the single most powerful force driving jobs out of the United States and into China and Mexico and Canada, our friends up in Canada. Anywhere and everywhere. Ford, their plants grew like crazy because of Don Reagan, their Canadian plants. Ford trucks are still made in Canada to this day because he hated unions. And you have to understand the time frame. These people took office just coming out of the 70s, the heyday of the unions. And they're communists, man. And regulation, government's bad. That's all Don Reagan. That is all Don Reagan. He believed nobody should be regulating the financial industry. What are you, crazy? Regulation? So yeah, you had a pudding for brains president that wasn't that bright to begin with, who was acting. That he could do. He'd been an actor his whole life. And you know, if you've dealt with anybody in your family that has cognitive decline, I could sit with my father-in-law and we could have discussions about the amazing things he did in the military when he was in the military. But we couldn't talk about last week. That didn't happen. The other thing that is really telling about Trump and the fact that he has pudding for brains is people that are going through that cognitive decline are very aggressive. They're very angry. They don't handle, when they get into a situation where they're confused, they get afraid, and they get very aggressive. And that's all Trump is. That's all Trump is. We got another clip for you. I'm going to play for you a little bit where he was just asked a question, and you can just see the frustration all over him because he can't keep track of the conversation because he has pudding for brains. Simple, straightforward question, and he cannot follow it. Skeet Sayre, the worst thing Reagan did was take away the new PC industry and give it to Taiwan. My father changed jobs 4 times in 6 months. Then in 1989, they gave all manufacturing to China. Canada was actually fine before Reagan. They actively fomented offshoring jobs. That's when you may remember a little company called Wang. If you're as old as I am, you may tell on yourself, you remember Wang computers. Everybody bought an IBM. Everybody bought an IBM. And then here comes Wang. Because we were actively pushing those jobs overseas. That's why Taiwan became the chip manufacturer to the world, the Reagan administration. But you get the dummies, the blue-collar dummies that they all vote Republican. And they're screwing them again today. You know, y'all mentioned, I love doing the show with you people because I actually get to do the show with you people. Like y'all brought up, no Republicans out there talking about tornadoes. Could you imagine if Biden were president? They would be holding press conferences and hearings, and the corporate media would be dancing with them doing this, where every day all you would hear about was the tornado damage and why didn't Joe Biden grab a hammer and go down there and fix it personally? But nothing, not a word. And they're all red states. It's the reddest of red states got decimated. No FEMA, no nothing. But are Republicans talking about it? No, because of this, what we're going to talk about some more here. Oh, well, thank you, Mark Nesbitt. I appreciate you being here. Our international audience, it is hugely important that you folks are here. Please Make your voices known in the comments section. We are building a community here. And one of the things that we Americans face is a bit of isolationism. It's not just oceans on either side. It's even I got to tell you, even digitally, we're isolated. I'll give you an example. We just went on a vacation. I was down in Mexico, and I'm accessing websites down there, and they're all in Spanish. A lot of people in the United States don't realize everything you access here is curated for you. You don't get access to world news. You get access to the news they want you to have. It's really eye-opening. Even if you can get over to, the .eu and some of the domains in Europe, how different they talk about the same subjects we talk about. It is amazingly different. That's why having you people here is so important. But I don't want to get off on a tangent. Let's go, Taco. Yeah, no kidding, right? Louis Kilgo, from Reagan to Limbaugh to Fox News to YouTube influencers, Democrats have been demonized by Republicans. They've been trained to consider Democrats socialists, communists, and traitors as synonyms. Democrat derangement syndrome. Amen, brother. Amen. And that's what I'm doing here. That's why I punch so hard. That's why I talk the way I do. Is I need to take these idiots that sat there and got fucked in the 80s, went back for seconds in the 90s. We have been the only ones that have been here for you, you dumbass. It's only under Democrats that your wages improve. Under Democrats, every time we clean up their mess and you have the best economies in the world, and then you go and because you're a bigot and Republicans will sell you your bigot bullshit, you go vote for Republicans because you're fucking morons. Linda Orndorff, they pushed those jobs overseas to destroy unions. Yes, they did. Exactly. Then the corporate media pushed the anti-union message for decades. It worked. It did. It did. It did. Very much so. But that's not the end of what we're talking about here. I want to talk about the corruption that was involved. I bet 10-1 odds President Biden outsurvives pudding for brains Trump. Yeah, I would take that bet. I would take that bet. I would bet he does too. I think that Alto Eager says, I think the dessert of the year for 2025 needs to be pudding tacos. I get what you were trying to say there, man. I get it. But look, let's talk about Ed Meese a little bit more. This is Wedtech. Good luck finding this company logo anywhere on the internet. And this is not that old. This is not that old. This is Wedtech's logo. Let me tell you a little bit about Wedtech and why Ed Meese had to resign. Wedtech was a baby carriage company. And I know you're thinking, what the hell? Why would the Attorney General have to resign over a baby carriage company? You got to remember, this is the 80s. So I love you too, Mozart Rat. I'm got to be pronouncing that, bro. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. But this is John Mariota. This is the guy that during his prosecution, and yes, he was prosecuted. So you imagine they went from making baby carriages to something else. John Mariota here, they figured out that the defense industry was going to be a booming under Ronald Reagan. And they bought into other companies and got into defense contracts, White Engines, a couple other things, and they started selling shit to the government. And to make that happen, there was a guy, a general. See if you recognize his face before I give you his name. See if you recognize his face. You probably don't know who this is because most people don't talk about it, but he has a very, very, very similar face to his first cousin. This is his first cousin. His first cousin is Paul Castellano. Lieutenant General Castellano facilitated a large number of those deals that John Mariota was, his company, Wedtech, was out of the Bronx, of all places where they manufactured. He was out of the Bronx. And Paul Castellano's cousin helped him get into the defense industry business. And he had more help than just that. A lot, Castellano went to jail, and this guy went to jail. One second. This is one second. Is that popping up? It's not popping up on my screen. Can y'all see him? That's Mario Biaggi. There he is. Popped up. Okay. For some reason, got a little technical difficulty there. This is Mario Biaggi. He was a congressman from New York. He was a Democrat. He went to jail over the Wedtech scandal. He did. He went to jail over the Wedtech scandal. What they had was they had members of the government facilitating Wedtech's contracts, and in return, Wedtech was paying off its legal consultation fees with stock. Yeah, these people were making a fortune off these no-bid contracts that Wedtech was picking up. One of the people that was facilitating this, Ed Meese. Yeah, he was a partner. He invested with John Mariota. Did Ed Meese get prosecuted? No. He resigned. He resigned for that. And then there was another scandal with a company called Bechtel. I could do an entire show on Bechtel, where they did a sweetheart deal to build an oil pipeline for guess who? Wild guess here. Who do you think Bechtel and Ed Meese arranged to build an oil pipeline for? Saddam Hussein. Yeah. One of you got it right there. Saddam Hussein. Yeah. During the 80s, Saddam, they were making a fortune selling, services and access for Saddam. 100%. Before they made a fortune destroying Saddam. And that is what Republican corruption buys you, folks. That is what Republican corruption buys you. It never goes away. It costs us young men. It costs us trillions of dollars in tax money. All of this corruption just blossoms and grows. They were doing business with Saddam, making money with Saddam before they were making money destroying Saddam. William Maynard, here for the taco, staying for the pudding. Thank you for the history lessons. Yeah. You just got to kind of know what's going on, who these people are. But you never really even heard of Wedtech, did you? Never really heard of Wedtech, did you? They had a couple prosecutions. Some Democrats made the news, but, ex-SBA tells White House pressure for Wedtech contract. Who was applying the pressure? Who is this aide talking about? Free hug for anybody that calls this person out by face. Y'all know who she is. She was a senator. Very, 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 one of the most powerful wives in Washington, and then became a senator. I knew one of y'all would know. Elizabeth Dole. Have you ever heard about Elizabeth Dole ever being prosecuted for her involvement with Wedtech? No, because it didn't happen. The testimony was there, but it didn't happen. Ed Meese was never testified. In fact, there was a big story that came out that the guy in charge actually withheld information about Ed Meese, while all this was going on. I mean, and you have to go back and you've got to have, I'm not going to pay the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times for additional access to their old archives, but there is information out there about, where you can get actual, as it happened, news stories that were happening about this. But I mean, you got to ask yourself, why was, a Democrat, a very popular Democrat congressman prosecuted, but, Liz Dole wasn't? Ed Meese wasn't? I mean, how could that possibly happen? Well, let me introduce you to the prosecutor. The woman on the left was a prosecutor, Mary Shannon Little. She's doing a press conference with her boss. And I just ask you, how is it possible that we have the reports that have come out that have said, oh, Ed Meese is a sleazy bastard? Yeah, there needs to be a prosecution. Because the reports that came out, as soon as the report came out, Ed Meese resigned and left office. How is it that we had a Democrat prosecuted, but not any of the Republicans that were so publicly involved? I mean, the journalists could go out. Remember back when we had journalists? The journalists could go out and find the information. And turns out old Rudy Giuliani was withholding a lot of that information. He later on, they spun it as he withheld the information because Ed Meese was Attorney General and he didn't want Ed Meese to be able to just to kill it. Well, you killed it. Ed Meese didn't kill it. You did. This is the history of these people. This is who they are. And this is not then, this is now. This is now. There's a reason Donald Trump gave this guy the Presidential Medal of Freedom. When he resigned in disgrace over corruption and involvement, where people went to jail, Donald Trump elevates this guy, gives him the Presidential Medal of Freedom. It's who they are. And if you don't think, if you think this is an 80s scandal, you're crazy. There's a trading platform called Hyperliquid. Well, we don't know who was involved in this trade on Hyperliquid, but we do know that someone, Bitcoin had been flagging. Bitcoin, Hyperliquid's a crypto trading platform. Someone right before this happened, And I mean right before. Timed it perfectly. Bitcoin's falling and falling and falling and falling and falling. Someone goes in a market where Bitcoin is just being trashed. And they put up $4 million to do a maximum leverage purchase of Bitcoin. They put up $4 million to buy $200 million worth of contract. They borrowed the money. In a situation like that, $200 million. This person was loaned. You've got to understand, if Bitcoin loses a penny, once that position is held, they lose it all. It's a margin call immediately, and they lose everything. You don't make a bet like that. I mean, that's leverage. I mean, think about that. $4 million investment. So it's somebody that had $4 million. Leverages $200 million in Bitcoin. The day before this happened. Donald Trump declares we will have a U.S. national reserve of Bitcoin. What do you think happened to Bitcoin on this day, March 6th? You can go back and look it up. But get this, they didn't hold that position. They stepped away. They sold out that day. Because the next day it tanked again. Because it was, it's one of those taco trades. It's like he's talking about, oh, we're going to go all in on this, that, and the other. And then the next day, him hawing starts to happen and Bitcoin again. So we have an unknown trader that leveraged $200 million in loans to buy Bitcoin and timed perfectly Trump's announcement of a Bitcoin national reserve. Christopher Daly, thanks for being here. I know you got to be saying, well, if you don't know who it is, why are you even talking about it? I mean, it's just, this is what we're going to have to do, folks. I don't want you just looking at, oh, we'll be able to breathe when no, we have work to do. We have work to do, and we cannot let this be another situation where Liz Dole skips and goes on to become a senator. No, we have to put the pressure on. We have to come out with pitchforks and torches. The Broligarchs bought this election for a reason, and we need to prosecute their asses for every single bit of criminality. We need to put someone, when we take power back, once we take power in the midterms, we need to demand hearings and investigations immediately. And then when we take the White House back, whomever we put in the White House, we must demand not a Merrick Garland, not a politically expedient attorney general. We must demand a killer, a low road Democrat as attorney general. Someone that will go scorched fucking earth on these Republicans. Because this corruption is off the charts. It is out of control. Skits there. Midterms are mitigating for the future of the USA. Yeah, we have to. We have to decimate them. Even in red states, we have to decimate these Republicans in the midterms. We do. Because this corruption is off the freaking hook. And I got to tell you, it's not just, things like this. And fortunately, I told you, look, they're going to try to say, they're inevitable. Trump's powerful. The Republicans in Congress are going to do nothing. They're not going to put their name on anything. Trump wants to grab power. That's Trump. Go ahead. You do it. Because what's going to happen over the next several months, you're going to start to see Republicans distancing themselves from Trump. We never put tariffs on anything. Oh, no, we never put tariffs on anything. As the economy continues to turn south, because it's over these next few months that the hits from people, production, imports, everything collapsing. This is when we start to see it. We already saw April's numbers. People are like, this isn't great. This really isn't great. This should be much better. Springtime, the numbers should be taken off, and they're not. June numbers are going to be freaking awful. June numbers are going to be awful. May, you're going to see continued slowdown. June numbers are going to be awful. And Republicans are going to be like, well, we didn't do this. And one of the reasons they're going to be able to say that is this just happened. And I've said this from the beginning, they're illegal. Wait for it to go through the courts, folks. It takes time. They knew it would take time. That is the 2025 project. They would go out, they would do a bunch of illegal crap, and they knew it would take time to fight it back because it would have to go through the courts. Well, this just happened. Trump's tariffs ruled illegal by federal judicial panel, and not just any federal judicial panel. It was ruled illegal by the United States Court of International Trade. This is not a small deal, folks. This isn't some obscure body. This is who trade disputes, international trade disputes, or if you're an importer and you're doing business with a foreign company and you screw the company, this is the court that company goes to redress these issues with. This is a real thing. They get their power from Article 3 of the Constitution. This is nobody's made up shit. This is a real deal, and they have teeth. And they just said all of these tariffs are shit. None of them are legal. The excuse you used to slap these tariffs on, no, that's not real. You can't just claim that all of a sudden we have a crisis and therefore you can do whatever the fuck you want. That's not how government works. Kim P, HR guru, you need to hear 18 to 25-year-old calling in on Dean Withers and Parker to debate why they voted to support Trump. Lots of work needed with male Gen Z. Awful MAGA point. Yeah, I'm telling you, they've been, but we got a whole nother generation of problems on our hands, especially white males. Pounce is human. I work at Target. Everyone is getting fewer hours compared to last year at this time. Yeah, the economy is in the tank. It is. E.T., but Paul, once we retake the House, will the leadership do this, or will they try to go back to the old business as usual BS, just allow it to pass? No, they won't. Trump has changed the game forever. There is no, I use this expression all the time. There is no putting the shit back in the horse. There isn't. Schumer is not going to run for leadership again. Our new leadership is going to be, I'll give you an example. Everybody's having a fit about Cory Booker and his lone vote to confirm Charles Kushner as the ambassador to France. All of the clickbait people that are on social media for themselves, that garner clicks by attacking the Democratic Party, are spinning the fact that Cory Booker, the lone Democrat to vote for this, well, he's the end of the world. Don't you know it? I mean, that's it. Cory Booker's done. He's canceled. He's awful because of this one vote. Folks, the vote was 51-46. Kushner was going to get confirmed. Period. The reason Booker did this, I reached out to his office to try to get some clarification. The reason Booker did this was it's always been decorum in the Senate that the opposing party does not choose a president's ambassadors. They advise and they consent. Kushner was pardoned. Kushner was pardoned. He's a piece of shit. He's not a guy that Cory Booker would nominate if Cory Booker was president. None of that shit. But he voted out of decorum, which I think was stupid. I think it was dumb. I do. I think it was a dumb move on his part. Who was the audience for that? But you see these clickbaiters all over that cannot wait to be little bitches for themselves and shit talk Democrats when, my God, this is what we've got to fucking deal with. This kind of innate corruption, the kind of work we're going to have to do. You've got little bitches on social media that are all like, I can get some attention because I'll talk bad about a Democrat. Fuck you, man. I got no time for that. I've got no time for that at all. I mean, we have extreme corruption going on. We have a president that has pudding for brains, that never had morals to begin with, that has people around him doing the most awful shit. And you want me to worry about Cory fucking Booker and his vote that had absolutely no significance whatsoever? A 51-45 vote over somebody that was going to get confirmed no matter what? Give me a fucking break. I'm sorry. If Cory Booker giving you 95% of what you want isn't fucking good enough, then you and I need to have a fucking come to Jesus meeting about how we win these elections. Because you don't win elections by filling the space with shit that you can get clicks over that is fucking the Democratic Party. I'm sick of it, man. I'm sick of it. Fuck this noise. I built these platforms for a reason. My grandkids, my kids. Fuck your clickbait bullshit and your attention gathering for yourself bullshit. I mean, yeah, I got somebody in the comments right now talking about housing. These are real problems, real issues, folks. This is what I want to talk about. The work we're going to have to do. We're going to take the government back in the midterms. We are. They have screwed up so badly. You've got even Elon Musk running for the hills, man. He's trying to tell everybody and their brother, I'm not in the government anymore because my companies are dying. Because I showed the whole world what I was. But yeah, this is Stephen Miller. Y'all all know who he is. Stephen Miller. This is the kind of thing that we have to deal with. This guy is an out and out white supremacist, man. He is a white nationalist. And you got pudding brains Trump and this guy. You get several of them. You got Homan. You got several people that are doing the same thing that Reagan did. Reagan pushed that shit. While Don Reagan and his white rich buddies, the broligarchs, were fucking, Cletus, how did they distract Cletus? Dave Ingham, we on the left need to stop eating our own over stupid shit if we want to win. Exactly my point. Kurt Aiken, Texas Paul taking the express train to cuss down for the jar. Thank you. I appreciate it, but I'm tired of it. I can't do this circular firing squad anymore. People are like, well, you're just a shill for the Democrats. A fucking min I am. Why aren't you? You goddamn right I'm a shill for the Democrats because they're the only people working for us. I love that. Monica Meadows, Steve Miller is Pee Wee Goebbels. Yeah. How did Reagan get dumbass, middle class to poor white dudes to vote for him when he was just reaming them? How? Bigotry. The war on drugs and them brown people. It was the same shit they're doing now. That's what this guy's job is. That's what this ugly bastard's job is. Jeremy Breeden, I agree with you, Texas Paul. Shut down the circular firing squads immediately. Thank you. Don't just tell me. When y'all see that shit on social media, go after it, man, because there's way too many people that are really fucking popular on social media that have made their entire shtick out of attacking Chuck Schumer or this Democrat or that Democrat. Donald Trump set my house on fire, but the Republicans didn't show up with a water bucket fast, or the Democrats didn't show up with a water bucket fast enough. Fuck you, man. Spicy Jester, it was disgusting how lamestream media sane washed Trump's comments on Memorial Day to the troops. Thank God for Texas Paul and Midas Touch Network because the media no longer reports the truth. Amen. I love Midas Touch. I love those guys so much. I am telling you, I do. They're doing God's work. They really are. But why am I talking about Stephen Miller other than he's the bamboozle? He is the bigot shit that they're feeding dumbass, bigoted white people to bend over, spread the cheeks, and grab the ankles again while Trump is fucking them. Well, there's been a bit of a dust up over this immigration stuff because on one hand, you can't deport every fucking body. You can't go into the colleges and deport people when people like Elon Musk is relying on doing his Don Reagan bullshit of bringing in foreign fucking labor to take American tech jobs. Those two things don't work together. They don't work and play well together. So there has been a feud in the White House that spilled out onto social media between Stephen Miller, who wants to deport them all, man. Forgive me, my voice is a little rough today. Between Stephen Miller that wants to deport them all and Elon Musk is like, but you can't deport mine. You can't deport mine. I want to bring these people in and have them do my tech jobs because they'll work for 18 hours a day for half the money. As an American, you know what Don Reagan did? Alto Eager, it's fine if you hurt me as long as you hurt them more, especially them brown ones. That's how they keep. Yeah, I'm telling you, the bigots are the dumbest people on the face of the frickin' planet. But here's how the social media, how the media protects these people. This is the story we're supposed to swallow. This is the story we're supposed to swallow. Oh, trouble in the Miller household because Stephen Miller and Elon Musk hate each other. And Stephen Miller's wife, she left the White House and went with Elon Musk when Elon Musk left. Oh, pay attention. Tabloids, tabloids. If you believe this narrative, you're an idiot. If you believe that what is happening is that Elon Musk is one, leaving the government, which he is not, and two, distraction, Stephen Miller's wife. And I still do not understand how Stephen Miller landed Katie Rose Miller. I don't get that. He's fucking disgusting. She had so many better options out there, but she can't be a great person either because she's married to Stephen Miller and she works for Elon Musk. I mean, so there can't be much there, if anything at all. Glenn Kaneko, missed a couple of shows, have to fill that cussing. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you. I really do. Stop coddling stupid. We ain't got a goose step to march in rhythm. Get with the program, heroes. Yeah, I mean, folks, I'm all for it. I founded the Ride or Die Democrats. I am for fighting for what you believe in. I am, but that's not what that is. That is not what that is. Filling the space, and we talk for you folks that are new. Every person has a finite amount of information. The Republicans are very good about this, very keen about this. Okay? They're very good at manipulating information and filling the space. Donald Trump, for all of his pudding brains bullshit, is really good at filling the space. The space is that one little bit of time that you have. What you're spending time with me doing is your space. It's the limited amount of time, when you get up, you make breakfast, you go to work, you take a shower, you brush your teeth, all of that deducts from the space. Most people have minutes a day, especially younger people, especially these young white dudes that are being bamboozled into the stupid ass bigotry again, have very little free time. What's being filled in that free time are these clickbait, sorry sons of bitches that want to pretend they're on our side but aren't on our side. Shit-talking Democrats for no fucking reason. Cory Booker's vote didn't matter. It was inconsequential. 51 to 45 people. His vote didn't fucking matter. But because these people want clicks and they can sell, Democrats are bad. Ooh, scandal, scandal. Pay attention to me. Because they can sell that shit for their own personal gain, they fill the fucking space with it. Instead of talking about, hey, you know what? There's a really shady ass crypto trade that just happened, perfectly timed with Donald Trump. Was it Donald Trump? We don't know who the damn trader was. Who was it? Did they have access? Was this a person, that ended up at Donald Trump's crypto dinner, $1 million a plate crypto dinner the other day? Instead of filling the space with those questions and investigations into this corruption, let's talk about Cory Booker or Chuck Schumer. Fucking stupid. Stupid. What do the Republicans do? They're really good. When they've got something they know they can't keep out of the space, they control that narrative. They throw a shiny object in there for you to focus on instead of what's really, really important. Lori Yates, damn girl, coming out with the guns blazing. Thank you. That is very generous, Lori. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Folks, Elon Musk is not leaving the government. Elon Musk companies are in fucking trouble. They just lost another rocket. SpaceX is failing rocket after rocket after rocket. So they're going to peel away regulations just to let them keep launching as fast as possible till he finally has one succeed. Tesla is in the shitter. All these investors were told, invest. Oh, the robo-taxis are that's going to be it. The robo-taxis. He can't sell fucking cars. You invested in a company that's lost half its customer base from just 1 year ago. Do they want that in the space? No. Elon Musk says, I'm leaving government. Then Elon Musk does an interview where it says, I felt really pinned down because if I disagreed with Trump or Stephen Miller or whatever, I felt very marginalized because I just didn't agree with everything that they did. Sig hail. Fucking lying bastard. Trying to put the shit back in the horse. But wait a minute, Elon, are you really leaving government because Stephen Miller's wife is working for you? Oh, ooh, that looks like he's not really leaving government, doesn't it? When you go from the White House to working for Elon Musk, it really kind of looks like there's a channel between Sig Heil and let's bring the Afrikaners into the country while we deport the brown people, you know, that fucking guy, and Stephen Miller, who's an overt racist. It looks like there's a connection. That's what the common sense person would say. But what does the media say? Oh, is Elon Musk stealing Stephen Miller's wife? Because, you know, the guy's got more freaking out of wedlock kids than half the fucking country. Tabloid shit. Jordan, Republicans have Biden derangement syndrome. Yes, they do. Jeff Schuler, Katie Miller is as bigoted as her husband. She openly supported the separation of immigrant families. Birds of a feather. I'm telling you. That's the distraction. No, Elon Musk isn't leaving the government. And the very proof that he's not, that Katie Miller is working for him full time now, that's the conduit into the White House. That should be the story they run as the story of tabloid bullshit. Ooh, is there trouble in paradise for the Millers? Bullshit. Jeanette Dahl, how soon do you think it will be before the American economy collapses? It is already. But I have to tell you, quietly, the GOP is like, oh, thank God. Oh, thank God this church, this court ruled this way. Thank God. Because the moment that ruling came out, the markets exploded. That will be the only thing that saves them. That will be the only thing that saves this economy is if these tariffs go away. And the dummies, the Republicans, get this, okay? I was watching this fucking moron talking about the tariffs. Oh, ask the liberals to explain why when Trump puts the exact same tariffs, reciprocal tariffs on foreign countries that are just the same as what they put on us, while that's bad, but the tariffs foreign countries put on us, that's okay. Ask the commie leftists to explain that and why they don't love America. No, you dumbass. They were 10 times the tariffs that they have on us, you dumbass. They weren't reciprocal. They weren't the same fucking tariffs. This is China's tariffs. This is the tariff we put on China. It was 10 times as much. They don't know anything. But they will show up and vote because of the bigotry. They'll believe bullshit because it feeds their narrative and that narrative is who they are. It's got to be true, because if the narrative is bad or wrong, then they're bad or wrong. So yeah, they're going to repeat this shit, which is why I tell you, you cannot try to win MAGA over. You can't, because there is nothing you offer that offsets their bigotry. Nothing. Even in the worst economic pain in the world, there's nothing you offer that offsets their bigotry. You have to get our people out, which means excoriating the people on our side that make a living off shitting on us. That's got to stop. It's got to stop. You want to have a policy difference? That's one thing. But shitting all over the Democrats? No. No. Rich Lawton, voting blue from dog catcher to president, not going to fall for the Repugs theater of distracting. Exactly. Elon Musk can shove his swastikas and rockets where the sun don't shine. Amen, Michael Z. Amen, brother. I hear you. Musk got what he wanted anyway: reduced regulation, investigations into his businesses shut down, and assurances of more government contracts. Amen. Amen. And he ain't going anywhere. He is still financially backing Republicans. He is still 100%. Katie Miller working for him is 100% proof that he still has his conduit into the White House. You're just not going to see his face because his businesses are collapsing. And folks, you have to know who's behind it. You do. You have to know who's behind it. Forgive me. Let me pull a picture up for you. Folks, this is Susie Wiles. This is Susie Wiles. This is Trump's chief of staff. You never see her. They never want her to be in the media. They never want you to see her face or hear her name. You want to know how far this is going? Folks, there is an FBI investigation going on right now because someone is impersonating Susie Wiles. It is nowhere in the media. Google it. Google it. There's a few right-wing outlets that are talking about it. That's it. They don't want Susie Wiles' name anywhere. JD Christie, thank you for being here. Thank you. Jeff Schuler, Trump doesn't want to lose the Musk money tap, but wants to get rid of his negative press that is agitating his base due to Musk. She is the watchdog. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you who she is. E.T., we also need to get a majority of registered voters that stayed home in 24 out to the polls. We need to get them involved. Hold the line. Exactly. And we don't do that by filling the space with bullshit. Fill the space with terrible things that the Republicans are doing, because they're doing plenty of terrible things, for you to tell the truth 100% and fill the space with that and excoriate anyone that tries to fill the space with anything negative about Democrats. 100%. 100%. That's what you need to be doing. That's why we're doing this show together, so that you can bring people in here to our community and you can go out into the world and you can affect the reality of the world around you on both social media and in your own households. Don't put up with it. The reason they don't want Susie Wiles out there, and you know what? Look, let me Google it for you. So you don't have to take my word for it. You are not seeing this. If you Google it, you can find a digital story, but these stories are not, they pay to elevate stories on these platforms, and then they talk about these stories on their programs. Yeah. Have you heard anything about this? This has been going on for a while. Do a search. There's an FBI investigation into this. Why isn't it everywhere? They don't want Susie Wiles' face out there because Susie Wiles is Don Reagan. Susie Wiles was from the campaign. All of that bigoted shit, they eat the dogs, they're eating the cats, all the bigot shit that they did, Susie Wiles. Navarro getting his tariff shit went through Susie Wiles. Stephen Miller and all his bigot shit and the mass deportations went through Susie Wiles. Trump has pudding for brains. Everything that gets done goes through Susie Wiles. No Susie Wiles, nobody controls these people. They will protect her to the end. I am telling you, folks, they're very good at filling the space with the narratives they want out there. Kyron, thank you again for being the voice of sanity. You know, folks, I would rather be turning some bowls right now on the lathe. I would rather be working on some projects around the house here. I am so far behind on my mowing, it's not even funny. This rain has killed me. It has killed me. But yeah, I mean, it's going to take me weeks to catch up with all the shit that I've got to do. I got a pond that I got to repair. I got all kinds of things that I'd rather be doing than this, but I have to do this. For my kids, for my family, for your kids, for the country. We have to do this. We do. I know there's things that you would rather be doing. Happier things, but we can't. Steve Corley. Paul, this may be a little off topic, but I'm really curious about your view on Jake Tapper and why is bashing by. I shut it down. Did you hear me mention it at all? It's the stupidest shit. Nobody cares about that stupid shit. Fuck Jake Tapper. CNN's ratings plummeted in the week that they pushed that shit. Nobody wants to hear that shit. Make them poor. Make them poor. And I'm not kidding, folks. This is Trump the other day. Could not even follow a conversation in an easy one. Kurt Aiken, do you like the idea of regular Democrats shadow government style briefing to recalibrate narratives? Don't exactly know what you mean there. Don't know exactly what you mean there. Here's the thing. Remember I told you about the agitation and the stuff that these people have when they're I want you to watch Trump here. One, the confusion. He can't follow a simple question. A really simple question. He cannot follow it. He needs clarification after clarification after clarification. And then afterwards, he just goes into the pre-programmed attack lines that he's managed to. That's the only way that somebody like this can function is repetition after repetition after repetition. With Reagan, it was government's bad. Government's bad. Every question you ask Reagan, government's bad. Same thing here.
When could the administration resume the interviews for foreign students visa? When do you think your administration could resume these interviews?
On what?
For the foreign student visa. Yesterday there was...
For the French visas?
For the French too, but all the foreign students.
Oh, for the foreign visas? What are you referring? Foreign visas for what? Are you talking about for colleges?
College
Okay, so you're off of Israel. Now you're talking about colleges, right?
Yes, now.
Okay. Well, we're going to see. Look, Harvard has been a disaster.
When could the
Watch him get.
administration resume the
He can't
interviews
follow it.
for foreign
He's
students
confused.
visa? When do you think your
Simple
administration
question.
could resume these
When are you going to
interviews
start
for
On what?
the foreign
looking into
student visa?
pieces again?
Yesterday there was...
For the French visas?
For the French too, but all the foreign students.
Oh, for the foreign visas? What are you referring? Foreign visas for what? Are you talking about for colleges?
I just
Okay,
told
so
you,
you're off
dumbass,
of
it's for the
Israel. Now you're talking
students.
about colleges, right?
Yes, now.
Okay. Well, we're going to see. Look, Harvard has been a disaster.
Let's go to the Harvard talking points. The man has pudding for brains. The man has pudding for brains. Tracy George, Americans need to be pissed off to vote enough to vote. Just like the Canadians in the federal election, it was the highest turnout since the 1970s. Exactly. That's what I'm doing here, folks. I don't hide it. I don't hide it. I tell you exactly what I'm doing here. I want that space filled with things that piss people off because people don't vote to say thank you. Look at all the shit that Democrats did. Look at all the shit. I mean, you think FEMA was there because of Republicans? No, they've been trying to kill that shit. You think your Social Security's there because of Republicans? You think your Medicaid was there because of? No, it was all Democrats keeping the lights on. Who voted to say thank you for that? Nobody. Nobody. People vote to say fuck you. And the Republicans are really good at spinning narratives to get our own base to tell our own party, fuck you. That's stupid. Fill that space with shit that pisses people off about Trump and the Republicans and their corruption and what they're doing to our economy and what they're doing to our people. Fill the space with that. Demand it. And yeah, Victor Harshman here. Democrats can help themselves by networking and conferencing together and get their messaging on the same page. Yes, look at the great work that Bernie and AOC did together. Congressman and a senator got out there, went to work, and got it done. They controlled the narrative. Yes, this is exactly what I've been pushing at with Democrats. No more high road bullshit. No more, let me tell you about my policies. No. Republican Congressman so-and-so called you a commie. Fuck him. That's the right response. Linda Orr, thank you. This is what I'm doing here, folks. When I meet anybody, this is, look, I'm going to tell you something. This was a gift. I didn't make this. This was a gift to me from Vicki Goodwin. Vicki Goodwin is probably going to be our next lieutenant governor. And if you don't know, lieutenant governor is the most powerful position in the state of Texas. Everybody likes to pay attention to Hot Wheels. No, because of the Civil War and Reconstruction, the bigots here in the state of Texas took power away from the governor. The lieutenant governor, Dan Patrick, is the most powerful man in the state of Texas today. The guy that's killing THC, Dan Patrick, the old guy, piece of shit that likes to arrest brown people and throw brown people in prison, is making THC illegal in every form. Reefer Madness, Dan Patrick, he wanted to do that. So it's done. Vicki Goodwin is running, and she is exactly who you would want to be lieutenant governor. She is exactly who you would want to be lieutenant governor. That woman, on a scale of what I know and my intelligence, I'm not on the scale. She knows more about government and how to make government work and work for the people than I will ever know. Brilliant. And hands down, the worst candidate I have ever talked to. I love her to death, but she's not gonna. She talks to people about their policies. We had a shindig here in East Texas, and I got to tell you, it was one of the best speeches that Kendall Scudder has ever delivered. I've talked about Kendall. I've had him on the show, the head of the Texas Democratic Party. Fire. People were standing up in a church and whoa! I got up there. Can you imagine what my speech was like? Vicki got up there, and everything she said was 100% right. She's brilliant. And everybody sat down. People in the back started getting up to walk out. People don't want to hear about your policies. They don't. It's time to throw hands. It's time to be on the attack. And that's what I talked to Vicky about, and that's what I talked to about her campaign manager about. Go on the attack, and I'm looking for it. I'm looking for to see her come out with that fire. Go on the freaking attack. Tell the people what these piece of shit Republicans are doing. The fact that you're going to be brilliant when you're in office and one of the best lieutenant governors this state has ever known only matters if you win. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. I am beating the shit out of the circular firing squad people. I'm getting our people that are exactly who we want in office. Exactly who we want in office. And I'm lighting a fire under them. This is what we're doing here. But I can't do it alone. I can't. Me, one guy yelling in the woods is useless. You folks have to get involved. You do. Like I told you, I met with somebody. I haven't given up on him. He would be a fantastic candidate to run here in our first district. I haven't given up. I'm going to try again to see if I can get him to run. He's got some valid concerns about running, one of which being this is not what he wanted to do with his life. But he would be a great congressman. And I'm not going to give up. If he decides he's not going to run, I'm going to try to find someone else. This is what we got to do from the local party up. This is why I keep begging you, get involved with your local party so that we can inject this that we're doing here together right into the veins of the Republican Party. I'm telling you, it works. It works. And folks, there's a lot at risk. I told you I would keep following it. I told you Ukraine is getting very dangerous. It's getting very dangerous. The latest news on Ukraine is the Russians have agreed to another sit-down brokered by Donald Trump. But there's a problem. There's protocol for these things. And going in, you tell the people that are brokering this what your positions are. The Ukrainians are like, peace is very simple. Get the fuck out of my country. That's my position. The Republicans will not tell anyone what their positions are. What are your demands going in? Not talking. And then they did this. Remember I told you we were quietly building up troops? We were quietly moving troops? Well, the Russians are doing the same exact thing. So while they're manipulating that idiot, and while there's going to be a sit down, while that sit down is happening, the Russians are going to be engaging in a huge push in the north. Yeah. They're going to try to take Kyiv. They are. Kyiv is in the north of Ukraine, if you don't know. This is a very dangerous time because if that happens that way, Europe is in a land war, whether they liked it or not. And I know everybody in Europe they've got a Neville frickin' Chamberlain right now, except for Macron. Macron is the only one out there that seems to understand this. He seems to be the Churchill of our time. But even Macron isn't really doing enough. Finally removing weapons restrictions was a good thing. It was. But that's not going to stop Putin. What's going to end up happening is Finland, Norway, Sweden, Denmark, that whole waterway, that's going to be one of the first groups drug into this war. And I don't trust Donald Trump to be smart enough. I mean, for Christ's sake, look at the idiots he keeps putting in charge to handle this. I don't trust him to be smart enough. I mean, look at tariffs. Look at the tariffs. The GOP are quietly saying, oh, thank God they took tariff authority away from him. But did they actually do anything themselves? Because they were the ones that had the power. Nope. Nope, they did not. So yeah, there are important things, dangerous things going on, not just for us, but for our allies in Europe. Folks, this goes downhill fast. This goes downhill very fast if Russia gets the upper hand in Ukraine. So yeah, we don't have time for the circular firing squads. We don't have time for the nonsense. Fill the space with exactly the corruption that the Republicans are engaged in. Stay on the attack. Use your grandma power. Your grandkids are being subjected to right-wing shit. They are. Big time. Make them proud to be a Democrat. Explain to them that North Carolina, I had somebody come at me on social media, was so freaking stupid. I just humiliated her and I didn't care. She posted where several months ago they approved several $billion in aid for North Carolina, and that I didn't know what the hell I was talking about. That North Carolina, they weren't in trouble. They just got billions of dollars of aid. I'm a liar. That billions of dollars of aid originated from the Biden administration. Then Trump cut off all additional aid. And no, $3.7 billion worth of aid sounds like a lot. But when you have $60 billion in damage in a state whose entire budget, that means everything, every light bill in every office, everything, every bit of law enforcement, the tires for cop cars, the oil change, every single aspect of their government, total budget's about $30 billion. Can't fix a $60 billion disaster. And no, $3 billion in aid doesn't cut it. But this moron was arguing with me that it was already solved. Trump fixed it. Trump did it. Woo! Trump did it. Folks, this is where you come in. This is where you come in. Understand? This is where you come in. This is where you get it done. I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this for us. And you got to be part of us. Love you, folks. That's what I've got for you today. I hope it's been useful. Hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you for all the support. Keep an eye out at the mug store. There's a couple new mugs coming your way. Enjoy some Texas cities at night.